Welcome back to another Wild Card Wednesday. My name is Jay Sheep and I make comics and teach art for a living. And last year I produced a two-part video on how I write comics using kind of a hybrid method that is both visual and written, because very often it's hard to decide which comes first, whether you're going to describe the panels or actually draw them so you have an idea of what they're going to look like on the finished page. And oddly, that two-part video actually the second part became my most popular video to date. So I'm here today out on a walk to follow it up with another comic book writing video. And what I want to stress up front is that this method is for people who are still largely fleshing out the idea of the comic. Meaning you are not ready to start scripting and drawing pages yet. You're still getting a feel for the characters, the world, the story, the whole thing. You're very much at the beginning of your comic book journey. This method is what I call an idea file, and it's something I've made use of for many, many years. You can make one of these digitally, but I much prefer the work of committing these ideas to actual paper with an actual pen. In this idea file, I put down everything I have in my brain relative to the characters and the story. This can include bits of personal history for your characters, family trees, the esoteric symbols of global cults and shadow organizations, along with a charter of its key members. Anything. The hardest part about having a good idea isn't necessarily how you leverage it, but how well you hold on to it, and committing those ideas as they happen to the pages of a cheap but dedicated notebook not only allows you a higher degree of retention, but also creates an environment for those ideas to connect and evolve in ways you likely never expected. In the past, I had a liking for those cheap marble composition notebooks you can grab at the grocery store for $1 or $2, but more recently I've shifted to spiral bound because they lay flat and generally have better paper quality. It needn't be anything fancy, just something you're willing to commit to using as a vomit bucket for your imagination. And to give you some further reference before closing out, I'm going to say that this method is very similar to that which Ed Brubaker uses when writing his graphic novels that he does with Sean Phillips. In fact, if you check out the Pulp Process Edition, you can see some of Ed's idea files, or how he uses the cheap notebook and pen to really get the blueprint of the comic going. And then you can see it made into a full-fledged graphic novel, which you can read by the end of that book. It's absolutely fantastic. And before I run out of time, let me just say thanks for stopping by.